Ladies and gentlemen, yes, we have two camera angles. Candace Owens. And no, her looking silly with her mouth wide open was an accident. I just happened to pause there. We're going to talk Candace Owens. We'll talk briefly about the Straits of Don, the Straits of Trump, the Straits of Hormuz. We won't spend long on it. The cartoon show's carrying on. Don't worry. Someone drove out on a boat and fired an AK-47 at a 300,000-ton tanker and everything stopped. So, you know, as I said, they were in the bag before the first bomb dropped. It's complete theatre from start to finish. Deadly theatre for some. Lockheed's happy. Boeing's happy. Raytheon's happy. Rafael Aerospace, Israeli Aerospace Industries, they're happy. British Aerospace, BAC, they're all, everybody's happy, baby. It's all good. So let's move on to a bit of intrigue with Candace, who is very scared now. Candace is having to explain herself, and it's funny to watch. It is really, really funny. The Masonic pictures with the homosexual boyfriend, alleged father of the sperm donor, is sort of starting to catch up with her, and she's decided she may need to explain a few things. Yes, they had handlers, and she's going to explain Kanye. And I'm going to tell you how it really works. For my audience, you already know how it really works. We know what interactive internet activities are. Thank you, Patrick Berge. Thank you, Millie Weaver, Gavin Wince. Of course, Gavin Wince, a member of the Grand Orient Lodge in France. I mean, what a world we live in, crazy times. We thank Roger Stone and Robert David Steele. Robert David Steele, of course, wrote the ghost memoir for General Al Gray, and he's good friends with Roger Stone, who's the specialist in group sex, setting up people with his wife. Roger, of course, many rumors about his bisexuality, cocaine and amphetamine addiction and dealing, ecstasy, meth, steroids, growth hormone. Watch my series, Rats in the Ranks, or Traitors to Trump for that. And we all find them all linked in with General Jim Jones, Denology, Clear Force. Thank you, Patrick Berge.
Our feelings explain why you wouldn't come here first.
I'm the pioneer of IIA, basically social media fake news. The last place that I'm going to go is a organization called Information Warfare, right? So our number one partner, and this is 2008, 2009, 2010, our number one partner. Hell, we were McCain's IT security company and social media company during the '08 primary. We were replaced in a subprime shift with Paul Manafort and Roger Stone, right? So your partner is someone who was who is close personal friends to my boss, Jim Jones, his dad, General James Jones, and Dynology, the company I worked for, when I'm helping them make these flyers, didn't have any salespeople. And 3ED.
But explain that to people, because I know that General Jones was involved consulting Trump early on. Mm-hmm. I know he has some involvement. Stone goes around and works with all these groups. When it comes to this type of propaganda and cyber warfare.
I would say probably General Jones. America, domestically. Israel, extremely powerful, right? But also directly tied to General Jones through Wikistrat and Joel Zamel, who I believe Wikistrat is actually WikiLeaks. I believe Psi Group is actually ISI, the name of our relational database. That's actually how we do it.
And why do they keep Assange in jail when it didn't come from the Russians? It probably did come from General Jones. That's the word I was told back during the campaign. And then they tried to blame Roger and I. I can tell you, Roger did not have these high-level connections, you think. He couldn't even get the time of day from Julian Assange. But General Jones, I know, was involved at those levels from what I've seen.
So those questions that you ask are all questions that I've been trying to get.
Remember, Trump's like, I love WikiLeaks, release it all. And then he leaves Assange there. I don't like that. He did the right thing, getting Roger clemency. Why do you think he's not helped Julian Assange?
I don't know. These are all questions that I'm trying to get answers to, because I know all the people that were involved with the Shadownet are all directly involved in that. General Jones and Michael Hayden are on the board of directors of Wikistrat. Wikistrat was directly connected, is owned by Joel Zamel, Psi Group, Wikistrat. They were both tied to the Cambridge Analytica scandal, where Facebook again got fined $1 billion and then turned around and partnered with these subcontractors to Cambridge Analytica to restore election integrity worldwide, right?
Oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive. Ladies and gentlemen, you know the story. Let us attend.
in cyber. And cyber is a real domain of power. In cyber is a real domain of power.
Ain't that America, you and me? Ain't that America? On camera. Something to see, baby. John Kirk and Mellencamp. Oh, I love that song. Even when I was in my anti-America, I read Noam Chomsky stage, I still love that song and still do. I feel like playing it right now. But ladies and gentlemen, at last, the facade is falling. Sweet Candace, I thought for 5 solid minutes, something was going to break when she did that 10-minute segment on Kay Griggs. I then watched Bride of, I'm going to slow things down, sorry. We'll talk about Rich and my despising of certain people, Alex Craner and all the rest, a bit later. I really like Rich, so don't try to tell me I shouldn't speak to him, please. We'll talk about that in a minute, but you can see things are starting to go a bit awry. I've always said I don't believe a word of their, let's get this ready. I don't believe a word about their numbers. I don't believe a word of it. It is becoming clearer and clearer to me. Pluto's an Aquarius, baby. And we'll talk about, I want to talk about astrology with a few of you. I used to watch tarot cards. I don't watch it anymore, 100%. You don't have to tell me. God told me. But I needed to go down these paths to check a lot of things out. Plus, I'm a pattern person. I like pattern recognition, quantum field, baby. But I'm really starting to get a hold on this witchcraft stuff, Kabbalah, some of the Masonic curses and stuff. I want to do a good voiceover for that because I'm in the heart of it here in Mexico. It's fascinating. So I've got my fascination. But if you avoid that spiritual side, if you're a bit like me, very into the sciences, you're going to miss a big part of what is going on. And I don't want to make it Hollywood because it kind of detracts from the politics, but I think it has to be said. But I'm watching these people make admissions on a routine basis. Every time that Candace is always going, these people open their mouths, they lie. Well, now Candace is opening her mouth and lying. I'll tell you where I've been around a long time. I've made all the mistakes. I want to save you multiple years of making mistakes and believing things and crossing your fingers with the Kol Nidre prayer and hoping for the best because someone name dropped. Alex Jones said Israel did 9/11 for 3.5 minutes and then ignored it for the next 10 years. We've got to get away from this little limited hangout. They pull it every time. Every single time. But I'm so pleased Candace Owens now feels she has to explain herself. And you can see she's getting a little bit worried. And I noted when this started, it actually happened before the last 2 parts of Bride of Charlie dropped, because initially they were very good. They were exposing Erica Kirk, her mother, as strong links to some very high-level Jews, like family links. They're related. And I keep telling you, as I did on Rich Does Politics, and we should even get that up. Here is a good video I just did with that Rich Does Politics. And we're trying to talk on to tell you how the system works, particularly the British system. That's why I have problems with Barbara and Promethean updates when only 5 or 6 years ago you were cheering on the British Empire via the Belt and Road and the Chinese, and you've never quite explained that. But now suddenly, oh, you're here now, the LaRochians. Just remember that Lyndon LaRoche was a legend, 85, 86, 87. Jeff Steinberg was his lead reporter, and he did all the best reporting on Israel and spying, and it was the best. LaCam went into Pollard, went into the software, what do you call it? The original software, see my brain, it drives me insane. Lots of stuff, all the old stuff, which really helps people understand the present. Then Lyndon LaRoche suddenly got a 14-year jail sentence for tax evasion. He does 4 years. He gets out of jail. Now suddenly Prince Philip and the Crown is running everything, and the Vatican. It's like, what happened to Israel, the whole history, the links in with the City of London? Sorry, Lyndon? He really changed his tune. Yeah, I have problems with that. I have problems with people that praise Vladimir Putin in 2026. I have a lot of problems with that. Now, I had a good chat with Rich for literally like 40 minutes before we made the video. I was not very nice to certain people. And I said, I'll tolerate Tom Luongo. I like him because whatever our difference is, he really pushed America instead of this garbage. Oh, America's going down, the US dollar's going down. And he just refuted it strongly, forcefully, with great venom. And I said, thank God, he is literally the only financial voice that tells the damn truth. But I don't like, but I've still pushed Promethean action saying, whatever the past, it's still good stuff to understand. I am in complete agreement that the Trump administration, not Donald Trump, and that's another thing that annoys me. Donald Trump, the president's doing this. President Trump wouldn't know his ass off from his elbow. Please, he's a scumbag, absolute scumbag. I'll still vote for the orange clown. But this cult of personality is dangerous. The guy's a failed, miserable dumbass whose administration is doing some good things. Yes, Donald Trump just gets told what to do. So please stop. Stop your fantasy that this man's a genius. He's worse than that. He had grave misgivings about his behavior, the fake origin story that he's a genius real estate. He's a rat. He's been a rat for US intelligence, Israeli intelligence. His history with Gildees, for crying out loud, just stop it, will you? He's an asset. He's been turned. He now works for another team. And the sooner I see the back of him, the sooner I like it. I'd rather be lied to by articulate presidential J.D. Vance, Peter Thiel's boyfriend. I'd rather that. Just lie to me. It doesn't matter. The same people are running the show. The Pentagon, serving and retired generals, officer corps, special forces personnel, the Heritage Foundation, Project 2025, and a bunch of Texas billionaires are running the show. So get over yourself. Donald Trump wouldn't know his elbow from his asshole. And I told Rich that, and he said, that's fine. But we all agree on the basics, that something is being broken up. And I said, yes, we can agree on that. But Alex Kroner has been pushing Putin for too long, and it's just getting embarrassing, and I don't like it. And he said, that's fine. Disagree with Alex. Disagree with Barbara. But just be respectful, be nice. Don't personally attack them in your usual style. And it was a very good chat. He's a social worker. He understands psychology, and we were chatting. And we get together with social workers. If you're a former RN, I have an interest in drug and alcohol rehab, counseling, psychotherapy, and prison reform after being in jail. So we would have these pleasant chats. I'm just so we can address this. Rich just says, do your thing, bro. You don't like me. I don't like you. We'll just go our separate ways. Who cares? But we agree at this moment of what is happening, the basics. And you disagree with Alex, but just do so politely and respectfully. I said, look, I'll try, but I find it very difficult. But I'd rather just move on. But now you know. And for as long as Rich wants me on Rich Does Politics, I will go on Rich Does Politics. If we don't, we don't. I couldn't care less either. In some ways, we're similar in some ways. It's just, let's just move on, agree to disagree, whatever. But there's just some things which need to be explained. And what's grating on me is the President Trump, that. It's like, come on, stop it. Regardless, just can we clear that up now? I like Rich. I like his attitude. You do you. Don't call them scumbags and whatever. Don't keep it at a level of, in your usual abrasive style, keep it at a level and just pull apart their arguments and just do so politely. And then everyone can get the information hopefully we all deserve. And I couldn't disagree with that. Thank you for the free therapy session, Rich. Oh, did you know Rich is starting a channel? Rich Does Psychotherapy. No, he's not really, but it was pretty funny. Anyway, it was great to chat. I felt like I was at work in the old days. But that is a good video, Secret Empire. The reason I talk fast is because Rich wants to finish in 50 minutes, an hour max. And so I'm trying to get information out as fast as I can. So just slow it down. But when you watch that, it's a good video. What is MI6, Kabbalah, John D., all that stuff? Michael Hoffman, revisionist history, is the man, although he really dislikes Trump, so I guess maybe he won't be on. And Rich says that, we need to get more people talking, more points of view, so we can get at the truth. I agree totally. And I'm trying to say that when you have that Kabbalah, when you have that the court Jews of Europe intermarrying and bringing in that old British Empire, old European oligarchy, born to rule, noble families, and then they're all mixing. And then the British Crown, corporate, City of London, those oligarchical families, 50% of whom were alleged to be totally in bed with the Soviet Union in the day in the Cold War. They weren't in bed with the Soviet Union. They were in bed with the City of London because the City of London is the Soviet Union. They are running the shuttles in the East, and they ran from 1870 on all those Bolshevik Jews out into the United States, down into Palestine. That's what I'm trying to say in that very good video. And I urge you to watch it to at least get that idea of what we're talking, these long-term sleepers. Then you connect it with Erica Kirk and her family and her relatives. So, look, I've got blonde hair, I've got blue eyes. She considers herself a Jew, one of the elite, this vile, vacuous Stepford wife that she is. But I hope you will begin to understand this network. That same network will kill 50 million Jews tomorrow. They don't give a shit about anybody, Jews included. They don't care about Chabad. They will sacrifice Chabad and the Forlock people. They'll sacrifice them on the altar. They are the brown shirts. We are really heading into an identical situation that happened during the 1930s. Are we recording? Yes. I always have a panic attack. Double check your recording, Brendan. Nothing worse than being on a roll for an hour and then realizing you pressed the pause button or you forgot to turn the recorder on. So anyway, I hope you will get that. If we get that big picture, we can argue the details. That's what the internet used to be like. We would argue the details. You're working for the Jews, for the enemy, you're MI6, all this. Because this drama queen story time, it's Candace stuff, because the super sleuths are at it, because rather than get in and do the dirty, hard, grinding work of politics, like Mary Silver's exhausted, she just texted me, totally exhausted attending meetings. See, that's the grind. Boring. Can't we all like hang out at a meeting with the Republicans and get patted on the head, see if we can get some money, see if we can be part of the crew? That's much more exciting. Just blab online, just keep everyone busy and out of the world of politics. Because that's what's going to separate the men from the boys, the goat from the sheep, the wheat from the chaff in the future. People are going to ask, look, you're sitting in a studio, dude. I work 8 hours a day. Then I got 4 hours of travel, looking after kids and doing stuff. I'm sending you $10 a month. Is there any chance you can do more than talk to me on your camera for 2 hours a day? How about you get out there and do politics? We'll pay you even more if you get out there and get into the politics. That will be defining. If you're a young, stupid idiot and you want to, for some unknown reason, you're too lazy to work for a living, don't want to clean a toilet, and I clean plenty of toilets proudly. I was the best toilet cleaner in prison, let me tell you. They sparkled. They sparkled, the superintendent said, and I said, don't thank me, thank God and the moon in Virgo. Sparkled. Shined. See, there's the code words, fellow travelers. Isn't that right, Candace? So, get a proper job, or if you really think you must be an internet hero, you better get out there on the street like a Lily Verno. That is the new standard, which used to be the old standard. Anyway, watch that. It's a good video. Let's get back to Candace, and we're going to ask these simple questions. We're going to watch a 20-minute video. You'll like it. Just to tidy things up briefly, yes, I am aware there is some big news. Joe Rogan has appeared with Donald Trump, if you didn't know, and this is something that interests me a lot as a healthcare worker interested in personal development, PTSD, psychotherapy, counseling. I've even talked to a lot of Special Forces soldiers and the lack of care they get themselves. Commando Regiment, SAS down there, also Brits, a lot of retired Brits, a lot of the retired Special Forces in Perth, Western Australia. You'd be surprised who's retired down there. All sorts of very interesting people, Owen. Lots of interesting people. But one of the things is just the care's a joke. It's just pills, regular interviews. Do you feel like killing anyone with the skills we have given you over the years? Good boy. Off you go. And you'll get your pension. I don't know about now, I'm talking 10 plus years ago, but I imagine it's pretty crap. So if you didn't know, we're going to talk about it in the next video because it's important. Joe Rogan is now lobbying with good old RFK, and the whole bunch of them are now got legalized. There's still trials to be done on psychedelics. So it's your magic mushroom stuff, your LSD type stuff. It's not LSD, but they're now messing with, I presume it's a version of ecstasy and some other pharmaceuticals like magic mushrooms. But it's been allowed now to be tested officially, and there's going to be more and more scientific trials. Now that is good, but I'm going to tell you in the coming video why Joe Rogan's there, and behind them will be Ari Emanuel, will be Roger Stone, will be a giant Israeli company about to make billions from the drug trade, and they're also going to make billions from treating all the PTSD, all the war veterans, and the drug addicts as well. Of course they're there making double cash. They make it on the front end, they make it on the back end. They always do. Okay, back to Candace. We are going to listen for 20 minutes, and I will interrupt I will try to limit my interruption. But I want you to watch her body language. I want to watch the change of tone now. She's explaining things. But before we do that, we have to get this picture up. Okay, I want you to go to Combating Witchcraft. This one, Candace Owens, Witchcraft, K. Griggs and Israeli Jewish Kabbalah, 21 clips. That's this one. The reason I want you to go here is Sweet Candace highlights K. Griggs, or she goes by a maiden name now, Kathy Griggs, K. Griggs. The point was no one mainstream has ever uttered the word K. Griggs ever until Candace Owens. So I was prepared to give her the benefit of the doubt. They did a good 10, 15-minute segment. I thought it was just a name drop. It was more than a name drop. But you can't find it now. It's 47 videos ago. The links are below. And if you go to this, very, very, very good. Love hearts for everyone. There's 21 clips from K. Griggs' courts. My dream is that one day I get to meet K. Griggs, at least interview her. I think she's early 80s now, but still going strong. She's good. She's alive. She's not dead. Please stop. And she's just so powerful. And she really embarrasses the men, all you tough guys with your tattoos and your beards. She did the hard work. Before Whitney Webb, 1997, the entire conspiracy in 7 hours, nonstop. Sexual debauchery, pedophile rings, blackmail, bribery, kill squads. Lays it all out. Did you know this video was the #1 video of state counterterrorism? Detective Timothy Richard Paine. They freaked out. They had to watch all my videos. They had my laptop and they had to watch all my stuff looking for anti-Semitic Jew hatred. And they said, well, your video collection is awesome. I said, indeed it is. I had the biggest hard drive you could buy at that stage, 500 gigabytes. This was back in 2009. This is a damn big hard drive, baby. I got hard drives, I got a big one. 500 gigabytes. And I had all my archive materials, much of which is lost and deleted by the police. Really hard to get torrent files, Holocaust revisionist stuff, just really all the original stuff, some of it in very high quality, or half it's gone. They had to watch it all. Those coppers weren't laughing about the Holocaust after they had to watch all that stuff. Said, oh, what do you think about the Holocaust now, boys? Detective Manners turned to Detective Paine and they just said nothing after mocking me and laughing at me the first time. Oh, did you have to watch all those videos, did you? 1/3 of the Holocaust. The truth behind the gates of Auschwitz. Yes. So as we know, it's no longer it's a political weapon. It's not an ethical, moral teaching tool about how you target minorities and you know, meanwhile the Jewish bankers are all living it up and apparently doing well, but we always get the working class, don't we? We always make a sacrifice of ordinary people. Regardless, we'll talk about the Holocaust eventually. Combating Witchcraft. Go and watch those 21 clips and you will learn how the world works. But getting back to Candace, let's get back to this. Before we mention another word, I know Masonry inside out. I've known a lot of Masons, including Scottish Rite. I've known a lot of Jews, including Chabad Lubavitch Jews. I've known a lot of people, LDS Church, a lot of people in my age, in my time, 55 years old, getting older and dumber, not wiser. If you know anything about the occult and Masonry, you probably couldn't get a more Masonic picture if you tried. Scottish Rite. Now, you have to understand the tangling. This is why Candace is getting very worried. People are onto her. I'm almost on the side of Laura Loomer, and I don't like saying that. Trust me. Trust me. I want you to look very closely. What do you see? You see this guy is, remember, Milo Yiannopoulos is warning, I will expose that guy. He's a gay. He's been at all the gay clubs. Of course, he's British. He's wearing his mother's or his girlfriend's lacy underwear, I can assure you. It's the British tradition. Oh, boy. He is literally a homosexual, not a bisexual. He's a homosexual. And we'll talk about how suddenly Candace got the vision to go to London, that first-class flight, I might add, to meet her future husband. These people, the Farmer family, or one of the lords, deep in with the Jewish Board of Deputies. Do you know how close the Jewish Board of Deputies is with the Crown, with MI6, GCHQ? Jewish Board of Deputies make the ADL look like schoolboys. Colin drew a prayer. Pop it behind your back. Cross your fingers hard. Jewish Board of Deputies are the king dogs of that world, of the bearded, forelocked world, that visual aspect of that world. Then you have the crackers in Armani with their royal titles, who are the real boss at the top. And these families, Scottish Rite Masonry is Judaism for Gentiles, pure Judaism for Gentiles. Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism for Gentiles. And here you have Candace. She is the checkerboard. It's got to be red. See all the lighting. See who's the boss. She is the checkerboard, the black and white checkerboard. Masonry. Let me show you something which I believe has never been done before. I put this into the court in just before the trial started. I want you to listen very carefully. I'm bragging now. Not usually like me, but I am bragging. Oh, it's my shirt. Yeah, it's Sunday, so I've man in black today. Notice of questions of fact and law to be answered before Brendan O'Connell versus the State of Western Australia, 1767 of 2009 on January the 11th, 2011 in the District Court of Western Australia. This is just before the trial. Didn't the trial start on January the 11th? I don't know. What I'm doing here in this notice of questions of fact and law, I'm telling the court, hey, do you have a conflict of interest? Because you're actually a Jewish temple. No one's ever done this before, and no one even knows about it. And let me tell you what happened. We had judge, he's now a chief judge. He's now a judge in the Supreme Court. He was the chief judge, Martino, good guy. Look, he was fair, he was firm. Tell me to shut up and sit down, but he was firm but fair. Judge Martino, very good judge. This is the front of the Perth District Court building with the big pyramid on the front. And it was funny, my lawyer at the time, John Bow, just said, that was a very interesting document you put up. And he goes, I'd never noticed it. All those years, I've never even noticed that pyramid on the side of the court. So this is the stuff we've got in here. Remember, a coup took place, a Bolshevik Fabian socialist coup took place in Australia in 1986. The Fabian socialist, Bob Hawke, trained at Oxford. He went to the University of Western Australia. He's most beloved by many Australians. He's a drunk. He was like Clinton. He was hilarious. He was hilarious, but totally in with the British Crown, but he was really in with the Fabian socialist movement. Absolute standard classic. And in 1986, they put forward under the Labor Party, which is like the Democrats. Remember, or the working man. They're always defending Victor Rothschild, very concerned about trillionaire bankers. But the Democrats, they did the Australia Act in 1986, and it legislated away the Crown. So they could never have another 1973-72 firing of the then Prime Minister Gough Whitlam by the then Governor General, the representative of the Crown, Governor Kerr, Bill Kerr. Kerr's Kerr. This is Australian history. I grew up around this, so I remember it all happening. It was 73 or 76. Sorry, my brain's messy. So is it not so that because the oath of allegiance was repealed from the Supreme Court Act of Western Australia, no court, including the District Court and Magistrates Court, meet the requirement of Chapter 3 of the Federal Constitution? You cannot legislate away your Constitution. If you want to change from a monarchical parliamentary democracy with the head of the British Crown, which then was the Queen and now is the King, well, that's fine. But you've got to go to a constitutional convention. You have to get a 70% majority. You've got to go through the whole process. They've tried it 3 times and 3 times it's failed. But under the Australia Act, they did all these things. They changed all the royal styles and titles. They changed all sorts of things. Because why go through a constitutional convention? So refer Kirk versus the Industrial Relations Commission, 2010. It is beyond the legislative power of a state so to alter the constitution or character of its Supreme Court that it ceases to meet the constitutional description. This is important. Now, this is all free man on the land. This is Wayne Glue, helped me do this, a whole bunch of people. All right, but the problem with these people is you think that you just do up a document and then you walk out, you've won because the document says so. It doesn't work that way. But this was, I'll tell you the response of we'll get to Candace, but I'll tell you the response of Chief Judge Martino later. Is it not so that over the 1st of December 2006, Justices Wheeler, Pullen and Buss ruled, and I had Buss, he's a piece of garbage, slob, absolute I don't know what he is, pedo, he's a whack job, ruled that Section 8 of the Acts Amendment and Repeals Court and Legal Practitioners Act did not remove the crown, it only changed the name. Is it not so? There appears on the front, we'll get into this. This is gold, never been done before. It'll get 2,000 views. Is it not so? There appears on the front portion of the District Court of Perth, Western Australia, a pyramid, emblem prominently displayed. It is specifically a pyramid with a shaded 3D effect and not just a triangle. And there she blows. All right. Is it not so that the religion and ideology of Freemasonry, never say Freemasonry, it's Masonry, has one of its main, Masons tell me, no, Brennan, it's Masonry. Thank you. Not all bad. I met some really top-level Masons in Australia and in the United, well, not in the United States. They're very upset. I keep equating them with Jews. Trust me, they're all fighting like cats and dogs. Is it not so that the religion of ideology in Freemasonry has as one of its main symbols the shape of the pyramid? And there's the pyramid of my main door, Covent Gardens, Masonic Temple, London, England. I got a lot of these screenshots from the very excellent Age of the Scorpion by Uri Lehner, the Swedish guy. Thank you, Tarquin. We'll have a coffee one day, you little fascist, in Sweden one day. Above the main door, Covent Gardens. So you got to watch was it Age of the Scorpion? I watched that way back 2005. Really opened my eyes. About the Bolsheviks were all Masons. That's why I tried to get with Rich. Look, it's all, he kept thinking I was diverting. No, the Bolsheviks are the city of London. That's that mix of the court Jews of Europe. They will handle the shuttles and pour them all into the United States. So President Roosevelt, 32nd degree Mason, signed the US $1 bill with the New World Order sitting on the front of the $1 note. You got to love it. Masonic Temple, George Washington Memorial, Alexandria, Virginia, all the big pyramids. Israeli Supreme Court building in Jerusalem. In fact, Rabbi David Freilich appeared at my trial via video link from the Israeli Supreme Court building. Why? What was he afraid of? He just happened to be there in January. No, it was a message to everybody. You don't realize how big this case was. But there's the all-seeing eye pyramid on top of the Israeli Supreme Court building. There it is on the front of the Perth District Court where I was to appear. I hadn't gone to trial yet because I was saying, you can't try me. You got a conflict of interest. You're a Jewish temple. The other little pyramid they have, the Holocaust Memorial, Supreme Court Gardens. Got a nice little pyramid there. This is the Grand Lodge of Western Australia Freemasons. I actually knew some people from there. Not everyone was against me. From the District Court building on Adelaide Terrace, Perth, the Freemasons, all right, all the usual signs and symbology. The town of Eliat, Israel, near the Egyptian border. You have a nice big all-seeing eye pyramid with the Masonic stuff on there. I'll leave you can download this PDF. It's actually a historical document. Is it not so that the main ideological foundation of Freemasonry is Jewish mysticism, otherwise known as Kabbalah? Is it not so that Freemason temples around the world predominantly display Jewish signs and symbols that include writing in Hebrew, Jewish menorahs, Jewish Stars of David, and Jewish Arks of the Covenant? Front of Covent Gardens, London, home of Scottish Rite Masonry. They have in the Latin, be tacit, gain insight, hearken. So it's be quiet and listen and be sneaky. And they have here Kadosh El Adonai, which is Hebrew for holy for Yahweh, underneath the thing. And you can see that there with the Ark of the Covenant. Okay, that's in London. That's the home base, baby. They'll probably always keep it there. I don't think they want to move to the Middle East. The Chesterfield Lounge is the most comfortable in London, oh boy. So there we have the Masonic Temple, George Washington Memorial, Alexandria, Virginia, Menorah, Ark of the Covenant. Bulls brought to sacrifice in temple. This is Covent Gardens, Masonic Temple main door, Pyramid and Sun, priests bring offerings in Jewish menorah, Israelites build temple, Jewish Board of Deputies, Scottish Rite Masonry, MI6, Masonry in general. How about this? This is where I'm bringing it all back to. The British homosexual boyfriend, now husband, now allegedly sperm donor to 4 magical children. Remember she said, I'm a Mason of Turning Point USA. Just remember that. So I'm still making the point. Masonic Temple, George Washington Memorial, Alexandria, Virginia. I'm trying to tell you what Candace Owens is, and then we'll watch the video and you'll see why she's so nervous now. Cat's out of the bag. Their numbers are fake. Everything's fake. It's not turning out well for them. The data analytics are coming back. It's not working. They're not buying it. Candace Owens' job was on cue with Tucker Carlson to suddenly decide, along with the Muslim Brotherhood, that Donald Trump, just as he does one of the most important things the Orange Clown has ever done, he takes out Iran like that, because the US $1 trillion military is not to be trifled. I knew it would be over soon. I knew it would be over. I'm still surprised there's no mechanical failures and accidents. It's incredible. And I told you how easy it would be to take them down. They're full of garbage. Israel's on fire, is it? No, nearly 80% of the missiles were hitting, the drones were hitting Saudi and the UAE. We keep explaining why that is. And just as the most important control mechanism for the City of London is being taken down by the Orange Clown, out come Candace and Tucker. We must fire. He must be gone. I said, look, criticize the Orange Clown, but just as he's doing one of the most important things you've ever seen, just as Mark Carney is running around with Keir Starmer, the Fabian socialist central bankers of London, are running around begging Xi to join with them, begging everyone, we've got to get together. They're going to eat us alive. We need to sit at the table. We're on the menu. Just as all these good things are happening, just as Trump's saying the EU was invented to destroy the United States, just as Trump and J.D. Vance is absolutely going after the EU and doing like, I'm just going, this is gold. This is not a fake fight. This is real. Out come Candace and Tucker, and we'll show you how fake they truly are. Remember, they got your attention. Boo, the Jews. But tell me who did 9/11? Why can't you organize adult things instead of all this energizing and polarizing and emotional language and Jew baiting? Why aren't we having a conversation? Why is it Candace Owens can only abuse Laura Loomer and say in one line, you killed 3,000 Americans on 9/11, but she won't tell me who did 9/11. Her life is at risk, ladies. The children. But she won't tell me. So I'll intimate, I'll hold up a book about the Talmud, I'll tell you about the Jewish slave trade with Professor Andrew, but I won't tell you, I'll just mention it. Well, there's guaranteeing your death penalty. You're gone, but she's not gone, but she got your attention. The limited hangout will drag us all to hell like tokenism. Says this all this Masonic stuff, the Masonic temple, the Stars of David, the all-seeing eyes. We're getting there. So as we keep moving along, it's 6,000 feet here. The air is so damn dry. These lights. No wonder people wear sunglasses. I can see why. Is it not so? Well, just, again, I'm showing you this document I put in. It sums it all up. That's why we're showing Candace with the boyfriend, homosexual boyfriend. And we'll talk about that in a minute, how she just fell in love and magically ended up there by the Jewish Board of Deputies, Scottish Rite Masonry family, the farmers. And she's out to get those Jews and show that they killed Charlie Kirk. Well, I put to you, the very people she hangs out with are the people that killed Charlie Kirk. And I'm gonna prove it to you in a reasonably well-produced voiceover where I'll show you who benefited from this, the chaos that is created in the United States. The City of London killed Charlie Kirk. I said in the original video, I hinted, I don't think it was Israel. They haven't benefited from the assassination. It's destroying them. And it's destroying the relationship between what? Israel and the United States. And they're putting big bases in there. And the City of London's going, we don't want you putting big bases in there. We want to cut off US public opinion from Israel. But we'll never go all the way. We're not going to tell you who did 9/11. We're not going to tell you about Pax Silica because that will give the game away. And you'll begin to understand Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. I'd rather hang out with Laura Loomer, thanks. Laura Loomer has more of a sincere bone in her body than Candace, I want attention Owens. Is it not so that the Jewish faith place is great? Doesn't it make sense? Who's benefiting from this chaos, City of London? Mark Carney's benefiting. Keir Starmer's benefiting. Macron is benefiting. David and Evelyn de Rothschild are benefiting. You can see that, can't you? Bibi never killed them. Bibi might have known something. There might have been Israeli nationals, Russians involved, dual nationals. Local Americans, City of London, Mormon country. How interesting. Yeah. Is it not so that the Jewish faith places great importance in the bribery of judges? Now, this is Michael Hoffman's stuff. Got to get Michael Hoffman on, please, Rich. Get Michael. See, we need experts, not half-wits. I'll point you in the right direction, but I ain't no expert. Hoffman's the expert. He don't like Trump. Well, nor should he. No intellectual, normal person should like Trump. I think he should consider maybe I could push it along a little, still call him an orange clown, but right now the program is fighting. Let's encourage them to fight. Mr. President, would you need a cup of tea? Could I assist in your beating the crap out of the enemy of mankind? One set of pedophiles is fighting the other set. I just have to believe this set of pedophiles have the greatest opportunity for reform so we can reform the Catholic orphanage. Get rid of the worst of the priests and slowly reform. That's my crazy idea. You tell me. So Michael Hoffman, again, Candace Owens should be using a profile. Tucker Carlson should be calling. Let's have an Orthodox meeting, Orthodox Jews. We'll have Orthodox Christians. We'll have the Catholic Church, preferably non-Vatican II assholes. And another thing, if you're getting baptized under the Catholic Church, if you're getting confirmed, if you're being welcomed into the church, you better be absolutely anti-Vatican II. And if you're not, you're not. Because why? You're a Catholic Mason, aren't you, Candace? Aren't you, JD? No one in their right mind would ever come into the church unless it was under the church militant, the Latin Mass. Ever. Just go down to your local Masonic lodge or join Judaism, but that would be too obvious. This is Judaism Discovered. Must read. I gave that to all the judges. They got to read it. The rabbis put a high value on manipulation of judges and courts. The Judaic communist financier Armand Hammer was taught the science of bribery. Remember, that's the guy, all these leaders of the Communist Party, and they're all running around multi-billionaires. Sound familiar? Bill Browder, Armand Hammer. Their parents were the heads of the Communist Party of the United States. Was taught the science of bribery by Vladimir Lenin in the Soviet Union. Lenin considered bribery as important as terror in the achievement and the maintenance of power. Isn't that right, Curtis Olson, Eric Kennedy, Mormon lawyer? Oh, I ain't forgotten about you too, California billionaire. It will come as a surprise to many persons to learn that Judaism preceded Lenin in making bribery an art and a science, particularly the bribery of judges. And I have first-hand knowledge of this. I know people, including myself, the judges were bribed. Stratton, Grimes, and good old fine-ass Bigelow. Do you remember Justice Bigelow? One having the affair with, what's his name? Giraldi, the lawyer? Oh, I got all the gossip on that. You want all the gossip on Larry Ellison? I know the law firm that's doing that. I have spoken with their lawyer. Oh my God, it's gold. It's gold. I don't think Larry Ellison will be with us too much longer. The halakhic permissibility of bribing judges is defined by many rabbinic sources, the most influential authority being the Chelkas Yaakov Rabbi Mordecai Burishk. This was 2011 before Chief Judge Martino of the District Court. And I'll let you in, as he was flicking through it, the then Justin Wally, actually wasn't a bad DPP prosecutor. He had a difficult job, better than the first one. But Justin Wally got, Your Honor, this man needs a mental health assessment. And I jumped up and I said, yeah, Justin, and you're a pedophile. If you want to throw mud, let's throw mud. And Chief Judge went, sit down, Mr. O'Connor, be quiet. And of course, all the security guards tell me they would fight to get on my appearances because they knew it was going to be a show. I became quite a legend in the court system there. And I met a lot of very good people who quietly shook my hand and said, good, not good, sorry about the rest of your life being miserable for some period of time. But at that time, I thought it would be a short show. I'd get a medal and a parade and then some compensation. I'd have a story to tell. Well, we're 14, 17 years on. So I said, well, you're a pedophile if you're going to throw. And I said, Your Honor, you haven't even read it, talking about this big document, which I'm reading to you right now. And Judge Martino turned to me as he's flicking through the document. He said, no, I've read it, every word. Just like that. Do you want me to do that for you again? Let's go to the main camera. No, I've read it, every word. That's how he said it. He's just flicking through it. Chief Judge Martino, good man. Is it not so that the Catholic and Orthodox Christian churches have stated openly and emphatically, hello, Candace Owens, listen up. Is it not so that the Catholic and Orthodox Christian churches have stated openly and emphatically over the years that Freemasonry and Christianity are antithetical and incompatible ideologies and psychological constructs? Quote, this is from the EWTN.com library to do with Masonry and the Catholic faith. Freemasonry is incompatible with the Catholic faith. Freemasonry teaches a naturalistic religion that espouses indifferentialism, the position that a person can be equally pleasing to God while remaining in any religion. Masonry is a parallel religion to Christianity. The New Catholic Encyclopedia states, quote, Freemasonry displays all the elements of a religion, and as such it becomes a rival to the religion of the gospel. It includes temples and altars, prayers, a moral code, worship, vestments, feast days, the promise of a reward and punishment in the afterlife, a hierarchy and initiative, and burial rites. Masonry is also a secret society. It initiates, subscribes to secret blood oaths that are contrary to Christian morals. You listening, Candace? The prospective Mason swears that if he ever reveals the secrets of Masonry, secrets which are trivial and already well known, he will be subject to self-mutilation or to gruesome execution. Most Masons, admittedly, would never dream of carrying out these punishments on themselves or any errant member. Historically, one of Masonry's prime, ask Bill, head of the CIA. Ask Jeff Kennedy. Masonry's primary objectives has been the destruction of the Catholic Church. This is especially true of Freemasonry as it existed in certain European countries. In the United States, Freemasonry is often little more than a social club. True, far more social club than it is in Jewish Board of Deputies, GCHQ, Scottish Rite Masonry land. But it still espouses a naturalistic religion that contradicts Orthodox Christianity. Those interested in joining a men's club should consider the Knights of Columbus instead. Or the Knights of Malta with Mike Pompeo, Mikey! The church has imposed the penalty of excommunication and floggings and drownings as a witch. No, I just put that in. The church is empire. I'd make a good inquisitor. I will make me inquisitor of the pre-Vatican II. The Church has imposed the penalty of excommunication on Catholics who become Freemasons. The penalty of excommunication for joining the Masonic Lodge was explicit in the 1917 Code of Canon Law, and it is implicit in the 1983 Code. Because the revised, anyway, blah, 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 someone tell Milo Yiannopoulos, all that good stuff. Is it not true that Judaism despises Christ, Christians, and Christianity? It is its sworn enemy. This is 2011, people. In a Perth district court. Don't think Perth is some outpost full of hicks and rednecks. It is a highly modern, filthy rich outpost, colonial outpost of the Crown. It is its sworn enemy. All involvement with Christianity is based on a falsity to hide the true intent of Jews. The utter destruction of the Christian world is espoused in their own documents, public and private statements. For example, and we go through all the Steinsaltz, unredacted, straight out of the Judaism Discovered book, all their nasty bits. Whoever disobeys the rabbis deserves death and will be punished by being boiled in hot excrement in hell. If a Jew is tempted to do evil, he should go to a city where he is not known and do the evil there. I want to read them for yourself. Many of you are well aware. Is it not so that the former head Sephardic rabbi of Israel, Ovadia Yosef, the equivalent to the Pope in Catholicism and in charge of the local Perth Orthodox rabbi David Freilich? That's not true. Actually, he's Sephardic. David Freilich comes under the Jewish Board of Deputies, Sir Jonathan Sachs, stated recently, as reported in the Israel paper, the Jewish Post, quote, Goyim were only born to serve us. Without that, they have no place in the world, only to serve the people of Israel. He said in his weekly Saturday night sermon on the laws regarding the actions non-Jews are permitted to perform on the Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom. According to Yosef, the lives of non-Jews in Israel are safeguarded by divinity to prevent losses to Jews. In Israel, death has no dominion over them. With Gentiles, it will be like any person. They need to die, but God will give them longevity. Do you understand this fascination with living forever, manipulating genetic code, specific genetic targeting viruses? In Israel, death has no dominion over them, meaning the Jews. With Gentiles, it will be like any person. They need to die, but God will give them longevity. Why? Imagine that one's donkey would die. They'd lose their money. This is his servant. That's why he gets a long life, to work well for this Jew. Why are Gentiles needed? They will work, they will plow, they will reap. We will sit like an effendi and eat. That is why Gentiles were created. That's from the Jerusalem Post. You think this is a very, very common sentiment. Not everyone, of course. But I make the point that Michael Hoffman made about Hannah Kasher. Hannah Kasher, an Israeli academic, wrote a paper in a secular academic paper at Bar-Ilan University justifying the collective punishment of the Palestinians, men, women, and children, under the law of Amalek and the story of the Amalekites, that God so commanded the Jews to wipe man, woman, children, infant and suckling from the face of the earth. And she used that as why we can kill off the Palestinians. All of them. That was the point I made, not just Michael Hoffman. I made it on the video I was arrested for. Back in 2009. Let's get up First Fruits, the original video I was arrested for in 2009. This is what started it all. This is what started this long journey. Let us attend. Just a brief bit.
You better wake up. The world you live in is just a sugar-coated topping. There is another world beneath it. The real world.
For thousands of years, they have existed among us.
You keep your eyes open. They're everywhere. Chances are you've seen them yourself and didn't know it.
A secret nation
Our livelihood depends on our ability to blend in.
with a lust for power.
We should be ruling the humans. These people are our food.
They've got their claws into everything. Politics, finance, real estate.
There's a war going on out there. He makes the weapons. I use them.
There are worse things out tonight than vampires.
Like what?
Like me.
Hey, how you going? It's May the 2nd.
Here you go. It's May 2nd. Now, this is what started it all. On May the 2nd, a Saturday, 2009. I'm in Peninsula Road, Perth, Western Australia. Maylands, suburb. I wasn't going to go. I'd met Alex Wisson before at a previous. This was when Operation Cast Lead had been in full swing, 2009. I wasn't going to go. What a waste of time. I need to focus on my nursing, get back, do my re-registration. I rolled over to go back to sleep. 15 minutes later, I bolt upright, and I thought, I got to go. And I just grabbed everything, put my thing, grabbed my camera, did this little intro, and went down there. And it was a very, very good video. Let's get to the section where we talk about Hannah Kasher and the Amalekites. Oh, there's our boy, Stanley Elliott Keyser. He's got a T-shirt shop. If you don't know, Chris Boleyn, when he exposes 9/11, talks about all these Israeli dual nationals, and they've all got T-shirt print shops. They're everywhere. That's what Stanley's got one in Perth. We had people go around there and laugh at him. So, hi. They didn't say anything from me, but they were going to. I said, no, just leave it. Just keep an eye on him. And here we go. He's upset. He's talking about the Holocaust.
That's cool.
Thank you.
You are racist, homicidal maniacs.
People are racist. I'm incredibly offended.
You're racist, homicidal maniacs taking my photo without permission. You didn't engage us. You didn't come shake our hand.
How dare you say?
You are a racist Jew.
1 year for that comment.
Tell us about Hannah Kasher and
This is Hannah Kasher. This is the Amalekites. This is Michael Hoffman.
how the Israeli academic who says that women and children are fair game in the fight against the Palestinians.
No one says they haven't.
The Jewish Kabbalah and the books of the Zohar. I know exactly what your religion's about, mate. Don't try.
I'm not asking non-Jewish.
So this is 17 years ago. Been at this a while.
People, in fact,
You are. It's in your religion and race. I know what the Talmud, the Mishnah, and the Gemara is.
Have you
I know the
studied
Jewish
Talmud?
Kabbalah and the books of the Zohar. I know exactly what your religion's about, mate. Don't try and preach to me about religion.
At any point in the Talmud,
In the
Torah,
Tanakh
or
Old
the Mishnah,
Testament, it
or-
says, slay them all, spare them
it
not.
They go and strike Amalek and utterly destroy all that he has, and do not spare them, but put to death both man and woman, infant and suckling. That's newborn baby, ox and sheep, camel
Woman,
and
infant,
ass.
suckling,
No, it
camel,
doesn't.
and ass.
It does not say they will slay all Gentiles. Not.
No, slay Amalek. And Hannah Kasher called the Palestinians Amalek. She is a current Israeli academic.
Okay, you get the point. And that is Amalek, Amalekites, and how they use like the Old Testament, Tanakh, which has a context. There's a context behind that story too about the Amalekites. They're just applying it 3,500 years later to modern day Palestinians. Rather ironic, seeing as most of them are pretend Russian Jews who should be killed according to the Times of Israel. They reported it. So, is it not so that not a single Western country reported these highly offensive and highly newsworthy comments from the spiritual leader of Jews in both Israel and outside Israel? Is it not so that the comments by this spiritual leader of Judaism are in fact in complete accord with accepting teachings of the Orthodox and ultra-Orthodox Jewish community? Is it not so that the so-called liberal and reform Judaism rarely, if ever, criticized nor rebuked the constant stream of racist and supremacist statements and actions of these spiritual leaders? Is it not so that Brendan O'Connell, the defendant, is charged with conduct likely or intended to cause racist animosity toward the Jewish people? Is it not so? Blah, blah, blah. Is it not so? That's talking about the Israeli ambassador turning up just before the start of my trial. And it goes into his socialist, green, left-leaning Habanim Dror. I'm talking about, is it not so, over 30 local and federal members of the Australian Parliament attended the event with Stanley Keyser just before the original start of my trial. It's called contempt of court. Our nation state, a very powerful one, is intimidating the court. This is unheard of. Whatever. And there is, see, I keep every newspaper clipping. There they are, Steve Lieblich. Is it not so that the premier of the Jewish Defense Organization, the ADL, or Anti-Defamation League of B'nai B'rith, was funded by the likes of Bugsy Siegel, Meyer Lansky, and Arnold Rothstein, the three most powerful organized crime figures in the United States? Well, that's interesting. Well, you got to read my stuff. This is just one hearing. Get it on the record. I knew God said, Brendan, get it on the record, cover up. They're going to hammer you like Mike Tyson. Just survive. All right, your day is coming, the issue's day is coming. Is it not so that the most powerful organised crime figure in Australia was Abraham Saffron? And is it not so that he is known to have controlled police commissioners, state premiers and leaders of industry and commerce through blackmail via his string of brothels and one-way mirrors? And is it not so, hello Epstein, and is it not so that the state of Israel uses organised crime figures to gain control of targets of interest for the benefit of Israel and the Jewish organised crime in general? That's Mr. Sin. I know someone who hung Abe Saffron off a balcony by his ankles. And this is a quote that's friends with Kerry Packer, father of James Packer. And we'll get into this. Kerry Packer with Jimmy Goldsmith. We can hang that too to Russell Brand. Now Russell Brand's on with Tucker Carlson. He's out with Jemima Goldsmith, one step away. Jimmy Goldsmith's daughter, for crying out loud. I'll prove to you who killed Charlie Kirk. Strong word, proof. I'll strongly indicate about that. In an historical sense, Abe Saffron would have to be classified as Australia's most vile, amoral and absolutely corrupt criminal. I think he was named by 3 royal commissions as being the number 1 organised criminal in Australia. He was the biggest, greatest manipulator of all when it came to corruption in this state. No Mr. Biggs could equal Abe Saffron with his influence right to the top of the tree. Saffron ran a courtier of high-class prostitutes, call girls, and he gave them to his friends for free. But it wasn't entirely free, as it appears, because Saffron also had the rooms that they used tapped with listening devices and also cameras. They would take pictures of what was happening and then present them to the victim, and they were theirs from then on. Sound familiar? Abe Saffron. Yeah, that's when they did a hit piece on me. There's lots of stuff in there, but let's get down to the good stuff. And we'll talk about, remember, best friends with Abe Saffron was Kerry Packer, Crown Casino, drug money laundering. Kerry Packer's son, James Packer, Crown Casino, drug money laundering. And he's given cigars to Bibi. He's being investigated for bribing Benjamin Netanyahu. Who's his best friend? Kerry Stokes, the Seven Network, media mogul. He's buying the Rothschild Bible just after I got out of jail. I was invited out with all their friends. Didn't try to kill me. They were inviting me out. In fact, it's really hard because they were really exposing a lot of corruption. So, I mean, it's bizarro world. Sometimes I can't quite get my head around it. Maybe it's just all for show. Is it not so that President Kennedy gave a speech at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel in New York City on April 27, 1961 to the American Newspaper Publishers Association, where he stated, perhaps one of the great presidential quotes of all time, the very word secrecy. Now, what they claim is he's talking about the Soviet Union and communism. Communism, City of London, Jewish Kabbalah, Judaism for Gentiles, GCHQ, Jewish Board of Deputies, Candace Owens. It's all linked. The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society, and we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. Profound words. You know why they killed him. He wasn't perfect either, I might add, but you get it. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, of infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas or hit teams by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its mistakes are buried. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Please remember that. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Revolution will not be televised. If they got you looking over there, you might want to look to your flanks. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned. No rumor is printed. No secret is revealed. Wow. Oh, they love this at the court. Is it not so that revolutionary communism, see, Rich kept thinking I was diverting. No, City of London is the Bolsheviks. City of London is the Soviet Union. It is Mao. It is Xi Jinping. Hello. That union of the Hofjuden, that's the key, understand? Hofjuden, court Jews, intermarrying with the nobles, you'll get it. It's all linked below. Is it not so that revolutionary communism was founded by three Jews, Hess, Engels, and Marx? Is it not so the Nobel Prize winner and Russian political dissident Alexander Solzhenitsyn stated in his book 200 Years Together that communism was a Jewish revolutionary movement? 2011, ladies and gentlemen, in a court document, read to the court. Well, they wouldn't let me read it all, but I tried. I wanted to read it in court. No. I said, but I'm trying to get across my views, my intent. No. Couldn't present nothing. I had Phil Tawney's video statement, couldn't present it. I had Green Beret Joe Cortina's video statement, his time in Israel, where they were going to kill kids, couldn't present it. I couldn't present anything. Great trial. Is it not so that the State Department document 861.00/1757 was sent on 2nd of May? What an interesting date. 2nd of May, 1918, from Moscow by US Counsel General Summers to the US Department of State reporting that, and I quote, Jews predominate in local Soviet government, anti-Jewish feeling growing among local population, which tends to regard oncoming Germans as deliverers. There you go. This is a document presented to a court, never been done before. Is it not so that State Department document blah, blah, blah was sent from Vladivostok on 5th of July 1918 by the US Consul Caldwell to the US Department of State, noting, and I quote, 50% of Soviet government in each town consists of Jews of the worst type, many of whom are anarchists. It's like Julian Assange. What did Kay Griggs say? What was the name of the guy? I'm an anarchist. I'm an anarchist. And he's running all the computers for the army and was in a kibbutz in Israel. It would be a grave mistake on our part to officially recognize Bolsheviks who scarcely represent, and it's blank, that's what it says, blank of the population. Is it not so that a US military intelligence officer, one Captain Montgomery Schuyler, sent a report to Washington from Omsk on 1 March 1919 describing in detail the Jewish role in the Russian Revolution? Quote, it is probably unwise to say this loudly in the United States, but the Bolshevik movement is, and has been since its beginning, guided and controlled by Russian Jews of the greasiest type. Is it not so that US military intelligence officer, one Captain Montgomery Schuyler, sent a report to Washington from Vladivostok dated 9th of June 1919 stating that Jews control the Bolshevik Revolution? These hopes were frustrated by the gradual gains in power of the more irresponsible and socialistic elements of the population, guided by the Jews and other anti-Russian races. A table made in 1918 by Robert Hilton, the correspondent of the London Times in Russia, and yes, we must not forget the head of the London Times, the editor. Oh, see, I've forgotten. Okay, I'll remember. Showed at that time, controversy of Zion, that there were 384 commissars, including 2 Negroes. That would be an interesting movie. Put that in. 2 Negroes, 13 Russians, 15 Chinamen, 22 Armenians, and more than 300 Jews. Oh, I hate this race crap. It's not a race. Of the latter number, 264 had come to Russia from the United States since the downfall of the imperial government. See, they always end up in the US. They're sitting in your State Department right now. Or maybe not so much now. They're not like in Cuba. Is it not so that in 1920, Winston Churchill wrote a full-page article in the Illustrated Sunday Herald on the 8th of February 1920 detailing the Jewish involvement in the Russian Revolution, Zionism versus Bolshevism, a struggle for the soul of the Jewish people? And it may well be at the same astounding race may at the present time be in the actual process of producing another system of morals and philosophy, as malevolent as Christianity was benevolent. Let me have a little sip. Which, if not arrested, would shatter irretrievably all that Christianity has rendered possible. Look, Churchill's a mixed bag. He's a mixed bag. I don't know what exactly happened with Churchill. The alcohol, compromise, whatever. It would almost seem as if the gospel of Christ and the gospel of Antichrist were destined to originate among the same people, and that this mystic and mysterious race have been chosen for the supreme manifestations, both of the divine and the diabolical national, and the diabolical. There would be no greater mistake than to attribute to each individual a recognizable share in the qualities which make up the national character. There are all sorts of men, good, bad, and for the most part, indifferent in every country and in every race. Nothing is more wrong than to deny an individual, and that's demonic. You must never deny the individual. That's why the US Constitution is so important. You must never deny an individual on account of race or origin his right to be judged on his personal merits and conduct. That is what America is about, very specifically about. I mean, it's there, most countries, but it's enshrined in the United States. In a people of peculiar genius like the Jews, contrasts are more vivid, the extremes are more widely separated, the resulting consequences are more decisive. Okay, you can read this. Goes into Weishaupt, the Illuminati, Karl Marx, then to Trotsky, Bela Kun, Hungary, Rosa Luxemburg, Emma Goldman, United States. This worldwide conspiracy for the overthrow of civilization and for the reconstitution of society on the basis of arrested development of envious malevolence and impossible equality has been steadily growing. It is played, as a modern writer, Mrs. Webster, has so ably shown, a definitive, recognizable part in the tragedy of the French Revolution. It has been the mainspring of every subversive movement during the 19th century, and now, at the last, this band of extraordinary personalities from the underworld of the great cities of Europe and America have gripped the Russian people by the hair of their heads and have become practically the undisputed masters of that important empire. Wow, it's all needs reading, but let's move along, okay? It's all there, you can download it. Is it not so that the Encyclopedia Judaica, published in Israel by a Jew, states anti-Semitism was branded as being, and this is in the context of all these new laws, the new ones in Australia, which are just outrageous, and we'll talk about them. Easy to get around, but no one wants to listen to me. Anti-Semitism was branded as being counter-revolutionary in nature, and persons participating in pogroms or instigating them were outlawed by a special decree issued by the Council of Commissars in July of 1918, signed and personally amended by Lenin to sharpen its tone. Remember, Lenin, real name, Lenin. Yeah. A statement against anti-Semitism made by Lenin in March 1919 was one of the rare occasions on which his voice was put on a phonograph record, to be used in a mass campaign against the counter-revolutionary incitement against the Jews. Oh my goodness, this goes on forever. Every bit's gold. Seva Plaka, talking about we mustn't forget the greatest murderers of modern times were Jewish. This is important because I talk about with this rich. We're talking about the atom bomb secrets, the Silver Master spy ring. Is it not so that a team of American Jewish communists passed the USA's secrets of the atom bomb to the Jewish communist-controlled Soviet Union after the Second World War, enabling the latter country to explode its first atomic bomb? They had to do it because they didn't want America to rule. They had to divide it up. They couldn't have America spreading the revolution. That's changing now. How good or bad that will be up to you. It's not cast in stone. From left to right, Julius and Ethel Rosenberg, the spy ringleaders, executed at Sing Sing prison. They were the low end. That's like Jeffrey Epstein. They were the low end of the rungs. It's like putting Harvey Weinstein in jail. He was the least evil of them all. David Greenglass, scientist at Los Alamos. Theobald Thelsberg, scientist at Los Alamos. And Harry Gold, courier for the group to their Soviet handler. Is it not so that the mass murderers and head of the communist revolution in China, Mao, was handled by an agent of American military intelligence, a Jew, Sidney Rittenberg, who was present during all of the slaughter under Mao's hands? I'll talk about that with Rich. There's Sidney Rittenberg and Mao, and they removed large sections. When I started publicizing this back in 2007, I was walking past the TV, and I just happened, I never watched the TV. A friend had it on, and it talked about a new book called The Man Who Stayed Behind by Sidney Rittenberg. And I thought, oh, I didn't know this. And I just went and looked it up, and voila, there he was on Wikipedia. Is it not true that Sidney Rittenberg now heads a leading international investment advisory company specializing in investment in China and works closely with Jew Henry Kissinger of Kissinger & Associates? There's Rittenberg with Sir Martin Sorrell. Is it not so that Mao was met and handled and supported by members of Roosevelt's war cabinet? All Jews. Look at them all merry with Mao, little old Mao, mass-murdering Mao. CCP chairman Mao Zedong with Israel Epstein, first left, Anna Louise Strong, third left, Frank Coe, second right, and Solomon Adler, first right, all Jews, all former members of Roosevelt's cabinet. Is it not so, this is gold, she was pretty funny, this judge. Is it not so that the former chief judge of the District Court of Perth, Western Australia, spoke glowingly of the mass-murdering communist dictator Chairman Mao in an interview with the ABC earlier this year, with the ABC, which is the sister to the BBC, indicating both her own and by inference and association the ideological revolutionary spirit permeating the district court of which she formerly headed, the Catholic Miss Kennedy in her bright red dress. And this is what she said. This is Joanna Manar. This is the interviewer. But on the positive side, she also leaves the legal profession with far more women in key positions. And Antoinette Kennedy, let me get this up, I keep forgetting. It is very good and it has helped the atmosphere of the court immensely. It's not that women are better. It's not a suggestion that they're better. It is simply, as Chairman Mao said, women hold up half the sky. And you have balance when you have women. I wonder if that's still there. Is that still there? Ah, can't be bothered. Is it not so that Jews made up the vast majority, almost exclusively, of the Silver Master spy group that reached into the highest levels of the US government, spying for the Soviet Union, a Jewish-operated and controlled communist country? And there's Nathan Gregory Silver Master, Chief Planning, Technician, Procurement Division, United States Department of Treasury, Chief Economist, War Assets Administration, Director of the Labor Division, Farm Security Administration, Board of Economic Warfare, Reconstruction Finance Corporation, Department of... They've been ripping off America forever. How much money do you think they stole and redistributed? Pentagon budgets and all. Helen Silvermaster, his wife. Shlomo Adler, United States Department of the Treasury. Norman Chandler Bursler, United States Department of Justice. Frank Coe, Assistant Director, Division of Monterey Research, Treasury Department, Special Assistant to the United States Ambassador in London, blah, blah, blah. Lachlan Curry, blah, blah, blah. On and on and on. The highest levels of the government. Harry Dexter White, Assistant Secretary of the Treasury, head of the International Monetary Fund, and used to sleep over at Roosevelt's next door in the White House. Real name, Harry Dexter Vovonovich from Latvia. Another Jew, made good, changed their names. Is it not so that Paul, this is 2011, in a court of law, is it not so that Paul Wolfowitz, Irving Kristol, and William Kristol, all Jews, are the driving force behind the so-called neocons that took George Bush into war with Iraq in 2003 under the think tank documents Securing the Realm and the Project for the New American Century, which were co-written with Benjamin Netanyahu, the former Prime Minister of Israel, that spoke openly of, quote, reshaping the Middle East for the benefit of Israel. The old Trotskyites, the old Frankfurt School. Hitler ejected them from Berlin. First we take Manhattan, then we take Berlin. Then they go to Manhattan, then they headed up at the University of Chicago, the Communist Training School. It's where they all are. First we take Manhattan, Then we take Berlin. Thank you, Leonard Cohen. Leonard Cohen's always giving the game away. Is it not so that when George W. Bush was replaced with Barack Obama, yet again an American president was directly advised by Jews loyal to the State of Israel, David Axelrod and the dual national Israeli-American Rahm Emanuel, brother to Ari Emanuel, the agent for 20 years of Donald Trump, also of Elon Musk. How do you think Elon Musk got on Iron Man 3 with Robert Downey Jr.? Who's best friends with Ari Emanuel? Robert Downey Jr. Who's best friends with Mel Gibson? Robert Downey Jr. I thought Mel Gibson was going to save us all. Keanu Reeves, Ari Emanuel, Benjamin Netanyahu, Keanu Reeves, that Keanu Matrix Reeves. Who's he good friends with? Alex Jones. Where did he meet Alex Jones? Alex Jones knows Ari Emanuel. He's run by Ari Emanuel, and he was doing voiceovers at 10 grand a pop, and he also starred in A Scanner Darkly with Keanu Reeves. That's how they all know each other. Ari Emanuel is the ring that binds them all, from Donald Trump, Dana White, UFC, WWE, Joe Rogan, Alex Jones, and now that Joe Rogan, well, we're doing all these psychedelics for the PTSD, and I'm not against it, but yeah, guess what? Guess who's running all that? It'll be Israeli companies, Ari Emanuel, Russian gangsters, drug money poured in there. They're going to deal the drugs at one end, get everyone addicted, then they're going to cure them with psychedelics, and they don't work most of the time. Most people they get an immediately good effect, but up to 70% will relapse in the long term unless you address issues. But it's worth doing. It is worth doing. It will open the door, relax the patient, and make them open to get at feelings. But if they don't do that long-term work, it will not last. It's definitely worth doing. But you see what they're doing? They're running both ends. How about you just kill all the fentanyl dealers and be done with it? It's all over. We can see what America can do. You've seen how they can control things. The same people that are running this are getting all the money. Wall Street. They always do it to the dumb guy. They create the problem, they provide the solution, they make money on both ends. We'll talk about it. I'm going to go into it, man. I'm going to dig in with my AI friend. Don't worry about that. So there's David Axelrod, another crazy Israeli first Jew, and insane Rahm Emanuel, brother to Ari Emanuel, who owns the UFC, who owns the World Wrestling and WWF, WWE, Dana White. What are these clowns doing? They're all involved in drug trafficking galore. It's criminal. But they say, well, you need us, man. Look, we're doing all this good work. You'll have crazy Kamala if you don't support us. So no matter what Trump does, no matter how many billions he's put in his meme coin accounts from drug dealers, no matter how many fucking 747s are handed to him, when do you say, you know what, you're just a common criminal piece of shit with a very strange relationship with your daughter who's been hanging around pedophiles for 40 years. I think we deserve better. The Republic does not hinge on that orange clown, and if you keep pushing him, you're going to look like a fool. His days are numbered. Thank God. Is it not so that all the heads of the American Federal Reserve Bank, the leading Wall Street banking and investment houses, are all Jews, from Alan Greenspan, who ran the Fed for over 20 years? And guess who his mentor was? His best friend, Ayn Rand. The Russian Jewess, Atlas Shrugged, the libertarian, to Ben Shalom Bernanke, who replaced him, to the head of the most powerful investment houses in Wall Street, Goldman Sachs, run by Lloyd Blankfein, to Jamie Dimon of JP Morgan Chase, to Mervyn King of the Central Bank of England, to Sanford Wheel, head of the largest and most powerful financial institution in the world, Citigroup, then on to Robert Rubin and Stephen Friedman, top executives at Goldman Sachs, who went on to direct the National Economic Council, directly advising both President Bush and Obama, to James Wolfenson, who heads the World Bank, he's Australian actually. Jews completely and utterly dominate and control the world banking and financial markets without exception. Is this not so? This is a court hearing document in January 2011. And the chief judge said, no, I've read it. Every word freaked him out. Handed around to everyone, I heard later. There they are. Is it not so that Joel Stone wrote in an opinion piece in the mainstream LA Times in 2008 that stated, and I quote, I don't care if Americans think we're running the news media, Hollywood, Wall Street, or the government. I just care that we get to keep running them. Thank you, Joel Stein. I like honest Jews, I'll be honest. It's not like they've hidden it from us. We're the guys sitting around with our thumbs up our ass, falling for every scam. Is it not so that the highly respected White House journalist Hellis Thomas stated in December of 2010, And I quote from, this is from Press TV. Thomas, a former White House journalist, said Israel can never be criticized in the US because Zionists are in control of the American foreign policy as well as its main institutions. Quote, I can call the president of the US anything in the book, but I can't touch Israel, which has Jewish-only roads in the West Bank, Thomas said. The 90-year-old national columnist says the White House, Congress, Wall Street, and Hollywood are all owned by the Zionists. Congress, the White House, Hollywood, and Wall Street are owned by the Zionist Jews. No question, in my opinion, she said. Helen Thomas, who has a Lebanese background, she was also friends with Kay Griggs. Kay Griggs lived with her for a while. There she is there. Appears to have a hard-on, unfortunately, for the nutty Democrats. Well, they're nutty now. They used to be kind of normal in the past. Is it not so that two academics, Mearsheimer, blah, 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 all that good stuff. Is it not so that in December 2001, Fox News did I wrote this to a court 15 years ago. Is it not so that in December 2001, Fox News did a 4-part series on Israeli spying in the United States, where it's alleged Israel has backdoors into the data intercept equipment used by the DEA? This is what my case was about. They were desperate to shut me up and not allow me to use it as a way to introduce this information. The Drug Enforcement Agency and many other American law enforcement and intelligence agencies. And is it not so that many formal and informal reports and memos from security and intelligence agency personnel claim that Israel knew about the attacks on the World Trade Center and did not report this to the relevant authorities? Thank you, Carl Cameron. Somebody interview Carl Cameron. Hey, Tucker. God, Tucker Carlson, the fraud. Well, if the FBI, if the CIA would release the files, we could work out who did 9/11. I mean, the audacity. Can't you see he's not going after Jews, he's not going after Israel. He just wants to break off public opinion from Israel. Is it not so that in March 2010, the former Director of Studies, I was meant to go to Iran with this guy, Director of Studies at the U.S. Army War College and 10-year Marine veteran Dr. Alan Sabrowski stated that Israel did 9/11 and not 19 Arab hijackers. He also said, and I quote, what Americans need to understand, this is a quote, is that they did it. They did it. And if they do understand that, Israel's going to disappear. Israel will flat ass disappear from this earth. Quote, if Americans ever know that Israel did this, they're going to scrub them off the earth and they're not going to give a rat's ass what the cost is. Quote, and my dream is that we take the US 5th and 6th Fleet and take Israel and cream it. Ladies and gentlemen, when I got out in 2014 to go to Iran, where I ended up in late 2016, I thought we'd be talking about all this with Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, not realizing that they're not all the same. So naive, God. There's Phil Giraldi, who turned out to be a piece of shit. In the end, he was all for the multipolar world order. Him and Ron Unz, what frauds, absolute frauds. They were pushing China, the BRICS, the whole kit caboodle. There's Let's Not Forget, Kill the Messenger with Sibel Edmonds. You need to remember that and watch it. It's very good. She went strange as well. I don't know what happened with her. Is it not so that SBS television broadcast a mainstream and award-winning documentary in 2006 called Kill the Messenger? And is it not so that this documentary details the persecution of a political dissident and whistleblower, Miss Sibel Edmonds? And is it not so that Miss Sibel Edmonds was a translator for the FBI with the highest security clearances? She's Turkish and she also speaks Farsi. And is it not so that Miss Sibel Edmonds was subsequently fired and gagged when she complained about being approached to spy for the state of Turkey? And is it not so that Miss Sibel Edmonds then detailed the wiretaps of American congressmen and Turkish lobby groups that indicated massive spying on America, illegal arms trade, sound familiar? Drug dealing, drug money laundering, and the selling of illegal nuclear parts for nuclear weapons to Pakistan through the state of Israel, with the states of Israel, Turkey, and the United States in full cooperation. It's all being broken up now. I'm sorry it's an Orange Clan doing it, but it's being broken up. And is it not so that the documentary Kill the Messenger goes into detail that high-level US government employees like Richard Pearl and Douglas Feith are literal, quote, agents for the state of Israel? It's gold stuff here in the court record. Someone tell Whitney. Is it not so that the Israeli company Variant does the data intercepts for Western Australia and Australian Federal Police, as related to me by serving West Australian detectives, giving them, the state of Israel, full access to local and national telephone conversations and data exchanges, including email, fax, and VoIP? Is it not so that the Israeli company Amdocs, controlling the billing databases for most telephone companies worldwide, giving them full access to information regarding who is calling who and when? Again, all Unit 8200 Telpiot program, Israel, Intel. Is it not so that in 2008, the Israeli company Amdocs was given a $600 million contract by Census or the Yellow Pages to centralize 5 databases? I know all about it because I knew someone that was there doing it. Is it not so that the Israeli company Elbit Systems was awarded a $300 million contract to provide advanced electronics warfare equipment for the Australian Defence Force? And this is what I thought we would be working on with the Friends of Palestine, with Jewish groups, with Muslim groups, going to Iran. Couldn't get anybody interested. Is it not so? And this is the guy that started it all, Leon Wen. He's Telpiot and Unit 8200 graduate. Is it not so that Brendan O'Connell was interviewed by Detective Colin Hush from the State Security Investigation Group in relation to a complaint by the wife of Mr. Leon Wen in March of 2008? And is it Pluto had just gone into my 12th house? Woo! And is it not so that I had published material to the internet? It's not only 4 more years, Lord, thank God. Published to the internet regarding Mr. Leon Wend and his Israeli intelligence agent credentials. And is it not so that Mr. Leon Wend is an Australian-born Jew who has served in the Israeli military? And is it not so that Mr. Leon Wend was employed in high-security Australian Defence Force companies such as Australian Defence Industries? And is it not so that Mr. Leon Wend installed and wrote code for the weapons and sensor systems on the Collins-class submarine? And is it not so that Mr. Leon Wend installed and wrote code for communications equipment at the highly secretive Special Forces base in Perth, Western Australia, Campbell Barracks? And is it not so that Mr. Leon Wend then went on to work for the Israeli company Variant, installing security systems for the Sydney Rail Transit System? And is it not so that Mr. Leon Wend was interviewed by the Australian Federal Police in late March 2008 in relation to my allegations that he had breached security by showing to the general public photographs and video of the interior of the Collins-class submarine? Is it not so that former case officer Viktor Ostrowski details in his book By Way of Deception, The Unmasking of a Mossad Officer, that the state of Israel employs Sayanim, Jewish helper spies from all over the world? There is Viktor Ostrowski. He's still alive in Canada, I believe. Maybe Tucker will interview him. Maybe Candace. Talking about all the Jews that are used for spying. This is such a great document I made. It's great. Is it not so that Israel produces databases and communications company that originate from the military intelligence arm of the state and have complete access into the deepest heart of foreign government communications? Hello? 2011, before they threw me in jail for 3 years and tried to kill me. How elite military schools feed Israel's high-tech firms. After graduating from high school, 1993, Arek Senak entered a secretive Israeli military program called Telpiot. The country's most select... Okay, this is 2011. Oh, Zohar Zissapel, the name doth that Whitney, the greatest journalist of all time, will not say. Zohar Zissapel, the rad dad of the world's telecom industry. They keep switching the power off here. Rad Group and Radcom run all the electrical grids worldwide. They're right here in Mexico. They've just moved in. Remote data servers, monitoring of your factories of every kind. Electrical grids, power grids, water, sewerage, you name it. Their industrial controller chips, their programmable logic chips are in everything. You've never heard of them. And Whitney Webb would not utter the name till it became a meme for many of us. RAD has helped change life as we know it, enabling high-speed and wireless communications and secure telephone networks and banking. Today, RAD is a solutions provider for more than a mere 100 telecom operators around the world, including AT&T, British Telecom, Deutsche Telekom, France Telecom, Japan Telecom, and Orange France. It provides communications tools to major players in the banking, commerce, education, finance, government, military, transportation, and utility sectors. In other words, the very lifeblood of the economy. One flick. Kill switch. And now they're legislating you will have their programmable logic chips, their industrial controller chips. Their AI will monitor it, and you will do it under Pax Silica. Can't seem to get too many people interested in it. Ladies and gentlemen, ahead of the curve. Is it not so that two Jews, Sergey Brin and Larry Page, are the founders and presidents of Google, which owns YouTube? And is it not so that Mark Zuckerberg, another Jew, founded and owns Facebook? Is it not so that the three most popular, influential, and powerful social media, networking, and search engine providers with a massive stored database of information of every conceivable kind are owned and run by Jews? Is it not so that Google has been named in Parliament in both the United States and Australia as a major privacy violator? And is it not so that a broad spectrum of the human community across the planet have voiced grave concerns at the growing power and dominance of these three internet companies? Ian Carroll's best buddies with Sergey Brin's first wife. Ian Carroll, Candace Owens' best friend, is just a grassroots kind of guy. You'll find the links, baby. City of London. All of them. They're not out to get Trump because he offends them. They're out to get Trump because he's offending Mark Carney and Keir Starmer and the whole Fabian socialist, internationalist, Trotskyite banking and financial network. Is it not so that this image best describes the state of Israel's control over the entire database and electronics communications industry? I made this in 2008. Why do we want to know your favorite color? Got Facebook in the center, Mossad. AIPAC's got a gun to Obama's head because we like you. What a great little meme. It was my first meme, 2008. Converse, Variant, P-Tech, Guardian, Andox. Little ahead of the curve. Do you realize we talked about this online? Put all this stuff together. Jews included helped put this together. And half of them hated me. She said the way we talk to each other. But everyone said, yeah, this is important information. Not now. Oh, you're bad for my business model. I can't possibly have you on. I hate this. I hate this guy. I hate it. I hope the internet, yeah. So anyway, my summary conclusion. Let's finish up. And we'll get to Candace. And with this background, we can start understanding Candace and Tucker. We'll listen to Tucker Carlson, these actors. A collective of human beings who go by the name of Jews control the economic, political, and intellectual life of the planet and kill and destroy the lives of dissidents who get in their way, yes. In accord with their holiest of books and well-documented track record of assassination and covert false flag terrorist attack. You'd think Michael Hoffman would have done a show on my stuff. I sent him all my material. He's never touched me. Current modern-day Freemasonry is an owned and operated entity of the group who call themselves Jews. Jews and Freemasons have been instrumental in the various communist and socialistic revolutions around the world and continue to do so to this very day. The former district court judge has expressed her deeply held affections for the communist revolutionary and dictator Mao Zedong. It is a known dynamic of human psychology and human relations that in the hierarchical human institutions, to attain high office, one must express and hold the deepest beliefs and Weltanschauung of the structure of which one has gained influence. Jews invented, headed, and financed revolutionary communism, of which the former chief judge expresses a fondness. And this was the dynamic of this thing. How you have such a conflict of interest being a Jewish temple, and you're all expressing your love for Mao and God knows who else, and you're letting the Israeli ambassador come over and interfere in the case. You can't try me. The complainant in the case, Stanley Elliott Keyser, is an alleged Jew and leader of a known Zionist communist youth movement called Habanim Doror, and is a Sainim, and so was the comedian. What's his name? You know, the comedian, the English guy. He does a lot of disgusting stuff. I used to think it was funny, not anymore. And is a Sainim, Borat, you know what I'm talking about. He was Habanim Doror. Is a Sainim. It's, again, Fabian Socialism, Socialist Youth Group. Jewish helper for the State of Israel, which reinforced by the support of the Israeli ambassador to Australia attending a rally in Stanley Elliott Keyser's honour. The State of Israel operates and controls the foreign and domestic policy of the United States and commits acts of terrorism against the United States and her allies to blame on Islam and the enemies of the State of Israel. The State of Israel has full access to the private information of every citizen in the West, including banking, medical, tax, and all forms of electronic communications, giving them unprecedented power to target and influence a person of interest, including Israel's control of major organized crime figures worldwide. Jews have a tradition of bribing judges, particularly judges involved with Masonry. I repeat, the former Chief Judge of the District Court of Western Australia, Ms. Antoinette Kennedy, is a communist sympathiser who quotes in glowing terms dictatorial mass murderers. In her defence, if she thinks you're the underdog, she'll take your side, Antoinette Kennedy. When they were giving me grief, the cops, she went after the cops. Give him his laptop back. You've had enough time. What are you doing down there? And then when I got the upper hand on the DPP and the cops, she started defending them. You know what she said to a major drug trafficker, allegedly at the time? Oh, they were doing meth, coke, ecstasy, huge, doodsy, all the gang. Oh, they were trying to put me in in Acacia. It's the private room section if you're a good boy, where they have all the ecstasy and they do all the ecstasy and meth in there. Oh, what's his name? Mikulik, Tony Mikulik, hilarious. There was a couple of women were slaughtered in that. It was horrible. There wasn't Tony, but it was the whole network getting wiped out. And he said, Your Honor, you've seized all my assets. As Tony says, I can't read, Brendan, but I can count. He's a welder, and he would weld all the money and the drugs into these shipping containers. They had a really interesting, anyway, it's very funny. And he wanted me to help him when I got out because I thought I'd be getting out, and that was obviously not going to help him. But he told the judge, you've seized all my assets. I can't get a lawyer. I want some of my assets unfrozen so I can get a Sydney lawyer. He said, I don't want a West Australian lawyer that you give me because they won't do their job. They're too intimidated, which is true. And she said, and I quote, you drug dealers think you can go get yourself a top-notch Sydney lawyer and come get you off the hook. Well, we have perfectly good lawyers here. Oh, you want to repeat that? The guy hasn't even been to trial. You drug dealers, she says to him, think you can get yourself a fancy Eastern States lawyer to get you off the hook. Nah, you're not having any of your money. There's your grounds for appeal right there. But this is Western Australia, the Wild West. The district court has a pyramid emblem on the front facade indicating it is under the control of Freemasonry. Indeed it is. Final conclusion. Jews run the world. Jews run Freemasonry. Judaism for Gentiles. Freemasonry runs District Court of Western Australia and has usurped our monarchical-based parliamentary democracy. Someone tell Marlene Yiannopoulos. Founded on the Magna Carta and common law-based Anglo-Saxon jurisprudence built on the King James Christian Bible and replaced it with a communist corporate Jewish system of Talmudic acts and statutes, Admiralty law, that are not in accord with our Christian Federal Australian Constitution. Brendan Lee of the family O'Connell will only be judged by a Christian common law court in accord with the Christian-based Federal Australian Commonwealth Constitution by judicial officers who have sworn oaths of allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, her heirs and successors by a jury of his Catholic and Orthodox Christian peers. Amen. Jolly good. Tally ho. Tea and crumpets. Cucumber sandwiches. A good game of cricket. I can hear the applause now. Where the hell is my applause? Why is there no applause? Where's my applause gone? I have no applause button. Don't worry, I'll fix it later. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you think? Lots of nice coloured pictures, easily traversed, Sydney Rittenberg. 2011. You could probably even use that, extract stuff from that. Thank you to Wayne Glue, even though I do like Wayne. He's a bulldog, but he's a little bit weak when it comes to really going after the system because he got scared. But anyway, Wayne did his best. He did do his best. Let's now get on to Candace. You must remember that picture. You must understand Scottish Rite Masonry, Jewish Board of Deputies. That's straight out of it. You can get more pure than that. You couldn't get more pure than that. Go and watch Rich Does Politics, the shocking truth behind CIA, MI6 and Mossad finally exposed. And this will tie into everything I just told you there. Right there. Now, oh, by the way, they have a new movie coming out with Jude Law. I want to like it because it's about Vladislav Surkov and Putin. It's got some great actors in there, but I watched it. It seemed a bit overdone. Putin's very evil, man. I was like, come on, don't overdo it too much. Regardless. And there's a good one on the Fabian Socialist Society, the secret society running Britain. I'll link it down below. It's really good. There's a lot of good stuff coming out now. This is all the old good stuff. Chatham House, Royal Institute for International Affairs, Cecil Rhodes, Roundtable Groups, Club of Rome, all the good stuff. All the good stuff. Perplexity, the network. What's that one? The Sephardic Foundations of Latin American Commerce. That's what I'm getting into next for the voiceover. Oh, do I love perplexity. Now, Candace. I don't think we're going to go through the whole 20 minutes because this has gone on for, holy dooly, an hour and a half. Sorry, I hope you're driving, doing the dishes. Let's just have a little listen. Listen to the start. She's going, yeah, I had handlers and I didn't know who they were. I heard she was with the Israeli Defense Force intelligence. She's really coming under the heat now with the boyfriend. And then she describes how she met the husband, the homosexual, right? The Scottish Rite Mason, when Scotland was Jewish. You ready? Let's start. Listen to the tone. Watch the inflection.
From that moment onward, Charlie and I were assigned handlers. I now very much believe that I have had handlers.
No way. Watch your body language. That put the head down like Lady Di. It's someone's reported back. Look, Candace is not looking too good. The data analytics never lie, Candace. This is a time of radical truth. You want to rescue your sad, pathetic ass? I presume it's a nice ass, if you want to show it, but just kidding. But please, Candace, sweet candy, tell the truth. It's radical, I know. Tell the truth. Don't do a one-liner of Laura Loomer. Oh, you killed 3,000 Americans in 9/11. Just get Chris Boleyn on. I'm trying to tell Rich, get Chris Boleyn on. Just get Chris Boleyn on. He'll tell you who did 9/11. Dates, names, places, corporations. I mean, it's just gold. Every word that comes out of his mouth is gold. And most people have never heard of Chris Boleyn. He's gonna make a comeback. I hope they don't kill him. I know he's nervous as hell. That's what I heard.
Since 2018. I had mentioned to you all, honestly, that something was happening in April of 2018. A lot of things actually were happening in April of 2018. But of course, hindsight is 2020. And I'm going to share some things with you. I don't know what everything means, but I know that it means something. Back when I did my initial tribute video to Charlie, some people took issues theologically when I said that the day that Kanye West tweeted, "I love the way Candace Owens thinks," Charlie and I freaked out because we were convinced that we had somehow manifested that. I'm aware, I've received tons of emails. This goes against Christian doctrine. This was 2018. I was not a Catholic, and I think it's important to discuss that and why we thought we manifested that.
You're still not a Catholic. Please stop. You've admitted you're a Mason of Turning Point USA. Stop your Catholic bullshit. You're manifesting because you are of the Lodge Universalist bullshit religion. That's why. That's why you're manifesting. You manifest nothing. You may be open to, you may submit to. God will give you what God wants in God's time. But if you ever wanted a more Lodge universalistic sign of what they're really about, all of that group, those large evangelical churches are all the same. They're drug trafficking. They are drug money laundering. Look, Alex Jones, you know that the journalist, you know why he was killed? The word is that he found out about all the drugs being dealt out and transported in the warehouse with Alex Jones. It's all going to come down, Alex. It's all going to come down, dude. You may all get killed because I like to clean up their operations. Be careful.
Because it is extremely relevant to what took place thereafter. I have to explain that moment to you. As I showed you yesterday, Charlie was having a lot of vivid dreams that he said he had throughout his entire life, that he was going to die in a really tragic, quick way. But especially in April, he was having vivid dreams that something big was about to happen. This is in the weeks leading up to the tweet, okay? Full stop. Charlie knew, and I felt that we were...
We're going to stop right there. Watch it yourself. It's linked below. The reason I want to stop it is we've gone so long now. That's enough. But you're going to Kanye West. Now, Kanye West is a half-witted, disgusting, moronic... Let's get Kanye West stuff up. He's right. He's bipolar. He's mentally ill in the true sense of the word. He is mentally ill, bipolar from too much cocaine and too many sycophants hanging out telling him how brilliant he is. I can't stand it. I think his music's as boring as bad shit. Well, that's just me. I've never liked any of his music. Couldn't give a damn about him. Never seen the attraction. But let's look at his past just briefly. What do you think of someone, a Christian, who's walking around with that on your pants? What do you think about that? You know the Illuminati. It's a good name, Illuminati. They swear to Satan. They do. They literally give their souls to Satan. I hate saying this stuff because it just sounds so out there until I started looking into it. Lady Gaga killing her best friend. You got to kill someone to get in. He's a piece of shit. He's a piece of disgusting, too much money, coke snorting shit. We remember Kanye hanging with Nick, Peter Thiel's best friend. They were taking money off Peter Thiel's friend, Nick Fuentes, who's on Rumble with 1.8 million subscribers on Peter Thiel and Jody Vance's Rumble. Of course he is. And who else is on there? Tim Pool's brother. After they walked out, they're all on the private plane together. Of course they're on private planes. Of course they are. Oh, Kanye and Elon. What's the link? What's the link with Kanye and Elon? What's the link with Kanye and Elon? Ari Emanuel, the super agent for Hollywood. He owns the UFC. That's the link. Dana White, Joe Rogan. And we'll get into the new psychedelic drugs. They'll all be Israeli, Russian gangsters, drug dealers, all putting in for these new companies and these new pills and these new supplements. These supplements, I told you, Steve Pieczenik organized with Goldman Sachs to fund Dr. Group. Dr. Group, all the Patriot pills, all the Patriot supplements and all the Patriot products and survivalist stuff, it's all come out of the same military intelligence Goldman Sachs operation. Alex Jones, they're funding all of them. Alex Jones and Ari Emanuel is one of those organizers with the great white whale, Elon Musk, with the company that will never die, no matter how broke it is, no matter how stupid it is, no matter how many rockets he blows up, no matter how incompetent, no matter how much drugs he takes, no matter how stupid and shit that product was, especially once China was gone, they were finished. The money just keeps pouring in. It's just a giant drug money laundering operation. His entire business model is they're extorting the Saudis. They're extorting them. Qatar, Kuwaitis are extorting them for money. Attack Iran, attack. Saudi. Oh, you need some more money? Can you give us some more money? We'll see if we can help you out with the president. It's a giant criminal extortion racket. It is disgusting. You're worried about Somalis? Good. Yeah, deport them all. They're filthy, degenerate, scum, thieving, so-and-sos. Great. Now you might want to deport these people back from where they came from because they make the Somalis and Kamala look like rank amateurs. His agent for 20 years, people, Ari Emanuel, Rahm Emanuel, chief of staff to Obama, still deep in the Chicago Frankfurt School of Economics. Susie Wiles, Rahm and Ari Emanuel, there they all are. Do you understand the links between that and that? Hollywood super agents, UFC, Ariel Zev Emanuel, CEO of Endeavor, Entertainment and Media Agency, owned the UFC and WWE. This man did the whole Charlie Kirk stage show, the filming, the theatrics. It's straight out of the WWE, straight out of the UFC. It's the same cameras, same cameraman, same production crew, same stage managers. It's the same stuff. It's all military intelligence. All of it. Joe Rogan, Joe scumbag pothead shit for brains Rogan. The most I remember 28, I never even heard of him. I got back from Iran. Oh, someone mentioned Joe Rogan. I don't know who's that. Oh, that guy that used to that reality show, him. El Dwarfo. And I switched on and I thought, who would watch this shit? This is the most boring. It's so boring. Oh, he's one of the number one podcasters. Then within a few years, the next minute, in 2020, 2021, he's doing $150 million deals. That's Ari Emanuel. That's Israel. It's Israel. All of them. The Bronfman's lawyer set up Alex Jones's LLC. Free speech systems. And we're back to that. We're back to that. What Christian walks around with that on their clothing? This Christian? Oh, look, everyone, it's Kanye with Jared Kushner, 666 Fifth Avenue. Boy, it's a small world out there. It's a small world. And you'll hear Candace say that. We have to get Kanye on board. Well, that won't be hard. You're all part of the same operation. I'm sure you can get him on board. Sure, Ari will help you out. You begin to see it, don't you? You think it's so, sit alone and kill Charlie Kirk to create what they've created right now. And just as the Trump administration and the half-witted orange clown are really starting to clean things up, out they came. Yeah, criticize the slob. He's disgusting. He's an absolute criminal thief. But I'm still going to keep applauding what's going on via the Trump administration. These people are trying to break off the support for Israel as the bases are going in right now and the IMEC is being built. The India, Middle East, European corridor. They're going to put the pipeline up to Haifa, avoiding the Straits of Hormuz, and give the finger to the City of London and the EU. That's good. It's not nice. I don't want people to die, but people are going to die anyway. So this time it'll be a lot less people. And suddenly Tucker's come out. Look at all these people. Same social networks, same agents, same clothing lines, same World Wrestling Federation production staff, same stages, same location, same backstory. They're all actors, actresses. Come on. Candace. I'll talk about Talmud. The Jews killed Charlie Kirk, not City of London killed Charlie Kirk. One of the same people that would have killed Kennedy, not literally, but the same apparatus. And we're back to Whitney, back to Candace, sorry. No, Whitney was on the crackpot. That is Candace Owens. Watch that whole thing. She's getting nervous. All right? So remember that Scottish Rite Masonry picture. Remember what I just spoke to you. That. Remember that. Link below is the original video I was arrested for in 2009. Go and watch that Rich Does Politics video, The Shocking Truth Behind CIA MI6. That's linked below. Me and Charlie, it's only 20 minutes. Watch it. She drops a lot of stuff. I'll be doing stuff on the Sephardic networks, diamond traders, drug money launderers, Andrew Tate, how it all ties together, Dubai, Qatar, City of London, and so on and so forth. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry that was so long, but you should get a lot of good information out of that. I'm going to sign off almost immediately. Do I have the end up there? No, I'll put it in manually. Okay. Please enjoy. Please, I hope you've had a relaxing weekend, have enjoyed yourself a little and taken your eye off the circus going on right now. Everything will be fine. No one is going to starve. Everything is hunky-dory. We'll talk again very soon. Hasta luego. Hasta whatever. Jump a leg, jump a dandy. Hold the huff fest. Okay, bye-bye.
What is our common bond truly? Freedom. Freedom. Without freedom, you can't be a Christian no matter what denomination you belong to. You can't be a Buddhist. You can't own a donut shop. You can't drive from here to Oregon. You can't be an American because that's what it's all about, and that's the only thing that it's all about. Nothing else. Nothing else. It's about freedom. Only freedom.